Welcome back to Just Railroading. Alright, so I'm back on the layout again. Got my grain board, foam board put down. All I got left to do now is, got some drywall mud I'm going to put from like right here all the way down that way. I'm not going to worry too much about this end because you're not going to see any of that. It's going to be covered up with a mountain starting right about here. So this whole area will be hidden. So I'm just going to mainly focus on this. I'm going to go ahead and take these back off again. Just get them off out of my way. I might leave that long one because it's kind of a difficult one to take off, but I'm definitely going to take the two end ones off just to get them out of the way for painting. I'm going to be painting it brown. I've got a gallon bucket of paint down under here. It's going to be kind of like a light brown. That paint was pretty cheap, so that's the reason I went with that light color. You've probably seen it in the last videos, but I did get my trussels put in and painted. Everything's in permanently. I got it all wired up. And if you're wondering what I'm going to do about this rat nest of wire right here, I've got an idea. I don't have it yet, but whenever I put that extra layer on here for the other upper loop train, I'm going to have a good bit of room on this end. So I bought a radio station. It's about 2 feet tall with the tower. The tower's 2 feet tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that wire coming off of this down through that tower. And then drill a hole through the table underneath, run it over here to my transformers. So that's what I'm going to do. That's going to eliminate the issue of trying to run it up the ceiling or, whatever I was going to have to do that. But I'm going to get back on this. I'm going to go ahead and start laying down that mud, filling this big gap here. And I'll show you what I've got after I get done with that. Alright, so I got a little bit of mud on it. Down the center there. Got a little bit on the corners. I kind of messed my corners up. That's why I'm having to kind of build them back up with this stuff. But I think it'll make it look pretty good. That one too. That one I just had to touch up a little hole. But I think what I'm going to do is put these guardrails back up on this side. The one that's there, the one that's right there. I'm going to put those back on. I'm going to cut that one shorter that was over here to match this one. And I'm going to cut me out a piece of plywood. And I'm going to level it up to the top of this foam. And then put my bracing and stuff underneath of it and everything. And then I'm going to take some more of this filler that I used. And I'm going to fill it in here because I kind of messed this up. I didn't cut it straight right there. I messed up. The blade was bending with me. But by the time I figured out it was doing it, it was too late. But so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put those guardrails back up. Cut the plywood out to fit this. Level it up. Fill in the gap. And I'm going to paint the whole thing brown, including what the transformers are going to sit on. But I'm not going to put ground cover down on that. It's just going to be brown. So I'm going to show you what I've been working on in the meantime while this mud's drying. So this is the former HO table, a future S-gauge. So I put my American Flyers in here, all the locomotives that I've got. The one on the very tip top, that's just a Bachmann locomotive that I just had left over. But I'm still planning on redoing these shelves, making them a little bit bigger. And I don't know what I'm going to do about the table just yet. I was going to put it over here on that wall, kind of where that flower box used to be. I was going to kind of build it up and shorten this table down and then build that up and then put them together, make it deeper. But the only problem is this room this way is 7 foot, I think 7'9" is what it is. So that means I'd have to cut 3 inches off my table, which means, I mean, it would work, but I don't know. I'm also planning on putting a ceiling layout in here. So it'll be a train running all the way around. I'm going to use the upper parts of the shelves, kinda, and around this corner here. That's the plan. I don't know if I'll do it or not. But for now, I just decided to strip this table off while I'm waiting on that stuff to do the thing. I did clean all the HO stuff up, put it all in organized in boxes like those. That's all HO stuff, what I had collected. But sad to see it go, but at the same time, I'm happy, because I did not like the frustration of HO. And, you know, I could have built it a lot better. This was my first ever HO anything, and I failed miserably at it, but I learned a little bit from it. You know, I have big goals, big plans for stuff, and I don't never do them because it kind of interferes with itself. Like, I wanted a yard, I wanted, you know, a lot of details, and you can't really get that on a 4x8 layout, so it kind of killed that for me. But I am going to be putting that S-gauge up here. I don't know if I'm going to widen the table any or not. I was thinking about maybe making the table 2-piece, like cut it right down the middle and then make it to where it can be slid back together. That's kind of a thought of mine. I don't know if I'll do it or not. I'll just have to, I'm going to try to lay that track on this table in a minute once I get the crap cleaned off the top of it. Kind of lay it out and see what kind of a layout I can get, you know, for fun. And I'll show you guys that whenever I get that done. But I'm going to get back to work on this. I've still got a bunch of little nails to pull out, as you can see. So I'll show you either when that stuff over there dries or when I get this cleaned off. Alright, well, that's what we got right now. I just got this kind of just throwed up temporary. It's loose. Nothing's really secured. Nothing's permanent. Just kind of getting a little bit of an idea. That mountain, I've had it. I got it off the O-scale table, and really there ain't nowhere to put it now. So I figured I'd make it work over here. Kind of got a little side, and you know, might put a station or something. Probably going to put a little town in the middle of it. Just a simple American Flyer layout. And of course I'm going to have the upper overhead around the room loop too. So one on the table, one on the ceiling. I think that'll be a pretty good setup. So let's get back on the O-scale table now. I've done enough on this for one day. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of that green turf carpet, like you see on front porches and stuff like that, indoor, outdoor stuff. I'm going to put a piece of this on it, piece of that on it. So we'll see what we can come up with for this table. I'm not going to go all out with it. It's just going to be real simple, American Flyer, you know, post-war type stuff. It's not going to be anything special or fancy or anything. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, seeing this a little bit. Alright, let's get back on the O-scale stuff. Alright, well, I got the brown paint put on. I went on ahead and trimmed, I think it's those, or no, it's those, the ones for this side. I went on ahead and trimmed those down. I added this piece of wood here, and then I kind of blended it best I could with some more of that stuff, and put a little bit right in there because I kind of got my cuts uneven, kind of like how this side is, as you can see. But you won't see any of this. This is all going to be covered by the mountain. Rounded out my corners, blended those in, painted them. I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and put the railings back on. I know I'm kind of all over the place with the camera. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the railings back on, and then I'm gonna get started making me a transformer perch. Alright everybody, so this is what I got now for the transformer to sit on. That's a piece of 100-year-old barn wood. I run it through the planer, cleaned off all the rough cut off of it, but you can see all the weevil holes. I just figured that added some character. There's an old nail hole right there, but I left a gap about an inch where I can slip my plugs and my track wires and everything through here without them having to go around. I seen someone else do something similar to this. I thought it was pretty neat, so I figured I'd do mine the same way. It did kind of take up my walking space a little bit, but I think it looks pretty good. I put the screws from underneath because I didn't really want to screw directly into this from the top where you can see it. I think it looks pretty good. It doesn't match because that was yellow pine and this is, you know, white pine, but it'll probably over time darken with these lights and things down here to match, so we'll just have to give it some time. But got all the railings put back up. I think they look pretty good. I'm getting ready to, I guess, lay the track back and start putting things back like they were. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on doing that, and hopefully when we get done with this video we'll have a working operating table once again, which will be nice. Alright, well I got the track put back down, and got a train running around it right now. Everything seems to be looking pretty good. I did have to replace this piece right here. It had a real bad misaligned spot right there. I know that's kind of common with Fast Track, but I had some new pieces. I went on ahead and replaced that one. So now that's not a problem. It's been an issue since the beginning. But all I've got to do now is get under here and hook my sections back up with solder on all four corners. And then this outer loop will be complete. Then I've just got to get the inner loop and do the modifications to it and put it down, put the switch in, and then start putting it down. So I'm going to get started on that. Alright everybody, so I finally got that inner loop put back down. Got the switch put in. That's my grain tower, and I've just got that train sitting there. I went on ahead and made me a isolated track right here. Basically, I took the two center rail pins out right here. If you know how Fast Track's made, it's got these two little, like, looks like a flathead screwdriver pins right in the middle, and they slide together. I basically took that middle rail, took it loose, popped it up, and got that tab to come out. It's just a snap-in fit. You can kind of see the notch, or the little tab right there. That's the little tab. You just unbend those, and it comes out. I was able to get that out of this quarter curve or half curve and this little half track right here. That's my isolator track to cut this switch off from track power. So if I wanted to, I could back a train up in here, cut it off, and still have another train running around on the table, more or less for looks. But I got it all run to this toggle switch right there. But I pretty much got the track put back down permanently. I went ahead and run that siding all the way back, even though the tunnel is going to be right here starting. So it's going to be across. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a double here, and then I'm going to put a single here. And basically, it's going to make an illusion like this track goes somewhere else than these two do. But even though it's really just a dead stop when if it backs all the way up into the tunnel. Might not be a good thing, but I don't really know. I think it'll work out and be just fine. But I'm going to show you guys what I do to make this Fast Track work. Alright, so on this Fast Track, you've got metal on metal pretty much. These little end tabs. They slide up in and it locks with those things. Now you can run the track just like this, just fine. It'll work. But what I did on this entire layout, even on the switch and the spur track and everything, I took wires and basically run them across here. Now this track doesn't have a notch cut in it for some reason, but I had to cut some notches. It's not really hard to do though. So I just run me a wire from there to there, hook these together with solder, then I run me a wire from here all the way to here. And they've got this little bridge piece going across here, but what I like to do is to solder a wire between both rails, just so both sides are getting even power. I think that really helps out a lot, and I haven't had any power loss problems, and pretty happy about that. Train goes all the way around. That one's really slow, so it really shows me if there's an issue or not. These, they're kind of, you don't really know if it's the track or the locomotive itself. Sometimes they kind of, I don't know, they're temperamental. But I still got to do my corner pieces, solder the wires underneath. I did this one. I'm fixing to jump on that one, and then I got to do those two. So once I get that done, the track work is pretty much complete. I did add an extra piece on this inside loop right here. I added a 3-inch piece just to tighten the double track up a little more. If you remember in my last videos, it was probably about a good 1.5 inch gap. I did that to help with the tunnel portals, because I was going to have a time finding one that wide. But I went on ahead and done that just to make it easier. I'm thinking I'm going to have to end up making some tunnel portals, because I'm having a hard time finding one that's going to work with the two and then the one. I do have some of this foam left over, but I got to figure out a way to cut it and make it neat. I kind of had to crude cut all this, and I had to come back and fill this in with putty and stuff to hide the roughness. And that's what this little piece of wood here is. It's just a filler because I cut this crooked and messed it up. But hard to do something with a razor knife that's that long and flexing around. Really need a saw when you're doing this stuff. A saw would probably do it a lot better, or one of those Woodland Scenics foam cutting wires. That would also work. But I don't have any of that stuff, so I do have a saw, but nothing fine enough to cut this foam. But I think I'm going to go on ahead and probably end the video here. I think I got a good bit done on the table. So as usual, I'm going to run some trains, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.